Will humanity be coming into a golden age?
You are hoping for peace. You are hoping to feel safe, secure, to be able to move into a place of peace. But what you're seeing on the surface is fighting, arguments, and it's frightening you. You're going through this rebirth. Old foundations had taken thousands of years to be built, and they've all been crumbling because they were based on fear and control and oppression. So we've been clearing out the old foundations and we've been laying new ones. And one of the big changes in 2025 is...
Are you ready to shine? Shine bright.
Woohoo!
Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael Sandler, your host on Inspire Nation. If you've ever wondered or worried about what's going on in the world today and whether humanity will make it through these trying times, then do we have the Hoping to Having show for you. Today I'll be speaking with Julie Poole, best-selling author, teacher, and tarot card reader about what's going on with the world, the US, and specifically with you in this extra special timely show. So welcome to the show, Julie. Are you ready to shine?
I'm always shining. We've got to shine our light. Welcome. Hi.
Well, I guess that brings us right to the first question. Will humanity be coming into a golden age?
Absolutely. But of course, we're really impatient. We want it not tomorrow or today. We want it yesterday. But it is unfolding. It's unfolding every second of every minute of every hour of every day. This is where we got to trust, have faith. Yes, it's happening.
What would you say is the time frame, as best as you've heard, or the wiggle room that this could take place in?
Well, we were told right back a long time ago, 70s and 80s, they were really, really banging on about the golden age coming in by 2032. So from 2012 to 2032, that 20-year period was going to be the stretching, the pulling, the expanding. And when we stretch, when we grow, it's not always comfortable. Sometimes it's decidedly uncomfortable. And when we're uncomfortable, it can be scary. And of course, once we go into the fear, we go into the panic, and then everything starts to really get even more. And that's kind of what's going on right now. But it's all going to stretch itself out and come into where it needs to be. We haven't got that much longer, about another 7 years. You hang on in there if you can.
And we're going to go to the fear and stuff and grounding into it later, because people are going 7 years. I'm not sure I can take 7 more days of this. Where was I going with this? And a lot of channelers, a lot of people on the show, a lot of people in this circle or in this sphere have been talking about a great flash or 3 days of darkness or some great tumultuous event that has a wave of energy coming over the planet. Have you seen or heard of anything like this?
No. I don't get that from my team at all. I'm sorry. Different people will have different information. But I want to just pick up on that 7-year thing when you're absolutely right. Some people say, I can't wait 7 days. I want to just explain that we don't get to 2032 and we suddenly wake up in the golden age, the golden dawn. We go to bed one day in hell and we wake up the next day in heaven. Every single day it's getting better. We're moving towards it. But right now in February, it's a little bit tight. As we move into March and April, it will release. It will release. It will become easier. So just hang in there.
Is that coming out of astrology? Is that coming out of what you're hearing on the side? What is giving you that understanding?
It's a little bit of both, Michael. So it's coming from, when I'm not an astrologer, but I watch the astrologers, and they're all talking about March and April being the best months, the strongest months. It's planetary alignment. There's all sorts of conjunctions happening. And I just check in with my higher self, my spiritual team, and I work with the same archangels as you do, Archangel Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and Uriel. Talk with them, and they're like, yeah, it's all going to get a little easier. Things start falling into place. It's felt very blocked through January, February. So it's, yeah, partly with the astrology, partly then I always check in with upstairs and my I am presence, my God force within. Does this resonate? Does this feel right? And so, answering your question, do I feel there's 3 days of darkness? No, I don't. It's that feels, well, I can hear them saying that just is putting people into a fear state. What there is this there will be several 3 day events where things are breaking open, including um, extraterrestrials. I don't like calling them that, but our galactic friends will, they always have been visiting, but we're going to get several of those things going on. That's going to open up some things.
This year or 32?
No, now. This January, February this year has already, some of them have already happened. I think I said on another chat I was doing last year, come January, February, there'll be a lot of activity from our celestial friends, our visitors. And this is going to continue, and there's going to be a few of those. So we've got portals opening all over the planet. And as those portals open, it gives us about 3 days of a big whack of light coming in. I don't think it's darkness. I think it's light coming in. 3 days of light coming in. Um, I think what happens is, all right, so I'm just listening to my team now. What they're saying is what these other people view as 3 days of darkness, what they're picking up on is that darkness is fear. And when the light comes in, it shines the light on what is unknown, unseen, what people aren't aware of. So all of a sudden, we get a lot of information that we didn't know before, and people can be frightened by that. But it is actually the light shining on what we need to see and what we need to be aware of. So it's actually a blessing. It's actually a beautiful thing. It's about perspective. Do you see that kind of event as 3 days of darkness? Do you see it as 3 days of light? My team will say it's 3 days of light. The light shines on that which is toxic, poisonous, corrupt, power hungry, fear mongering. The light shines on it. So it creates some fear. When you first become aware of something that's uncomfortable or horrible or yucky or poisonous, you kind of go, eh. And yeah, it creates that. It comes up to the surface. You feel like you want to, they're showing me kind of the gag reflex. You'll feel like you want to gag. And if you want to call that darkness, you can say, okay, that's darkness. We don't see it that way. We don't see it as darkness. We see it as purging. We see it as clearing. We see it as releasing. We see it as a new level of awareness, which is empowering you into action. So if you need to throw up and clear it, clear it.
Ooh, I want to go to karma in a minute. Individual karma, collective karma, empowering you to action. What does, at a time where we're coming into 3 days of light, shall we say? I like that very much. What does that action, and I know it's going to be different for every individual, but globally, what does that action mean for us?
Well, it starts with the individual because everything that we are, we are one anyway, and the energy is all one. But let's bring it into the individual, and then we can expand it out into your country, your continent, that kind of thing. So when that light comes in, how we react is very much about how much we're holding of one thing or the other. Let's define it. There are two emotions, okay? Every emotion, I mean, there's about 280 emotions, but they're either fear-based or love-based, okay? So if we just say there's only two, one makes you feel good, one makes you feel bad. Let's simplify it. We tend to overcomplicate things. Let's just keep it really simple. Which one is it? What am I feeling? Does it make you feel good? Well, then it's a love-based emotion. Does it make you feel bad? Well, then it's a fear-based emotion. So the light comes in and into you, into your DNA, into your chakras, everything lights up and you suddenly become aware. So it depends how much you're holding as to what you're going to feel. If you are already holding a lot of suppressed anger, fear, toxicity, frustration, resentment, that's what you're going to see. That's what you're going to feel. It's all going to come up, bubbling up. And what we tend to do is then project that out. So we'll project that anger into it's the government, it's the country, it's another country, it's that person. We want to push it all out. But actually, what this is stuff that we're already holding that is wanting to work its way out. And so if we want to play the blame game, Actually, it never really kind of works. So it doesn't stop. You kind of are coming out, and it's just a repeated cycle coming back to you until you own it, until you say, how much of this anger is mine about my life and my relationships, my world? When I own it and say, okay, that's mine, it'll dissolve. That resentment, how much is mine? So we kind of work through that, and then it poof, gone. But if we're already in faith, in light, in trust, and we start to see more light, more faith, more trust, we raise our vibration. But all of us are being given the opportunity, and it's a choice. Nobody's making you do anything. It's a choice. Do you choose to see this light as a positive? Do you choose to see it as a way to clear and release and raise yourself, your light, and take action where it feels appropriate for you to take action? That's what it's all about.
Thank you. Nelson Mandela, jailed for a very long time in apartheid. And I'm guessing he was doing just this. He was playing with the light because when he got out, he was unstoppable. He became president of a nation completely changed, and in many ways, the whole face of Africa, if not had an effect on the entire world. What do we do as individuals to bring back that light? Because this is very specific. This is US based, at least. This is people losing their jobs. This is people being threatened with their lives. There's persecution, all of this, and a lot more. How do we bring it back to the light at this time?
When we see all these injustices, which have been there for some time, okay, but a lot of it's been hidden, a lot of it's been suppressed, a lot of it hasn't been publicized. When you think, then, what's the light doing? It's shining a light on all that stuff. And of course, AI has a massive part in this, because even 20 years ago, before mobile phones, cell phones, we didn't know half of it. But these days, people are filming things on their phone, and it's going viral, and we're just more aware. That's what the light is. So as that awareness raises, we then have a choice. Do I feel that it's right to take inspired action against that energy? Now, when we go against, we're creating resistance. So what we want to do is say, okay, I recognize that I'm not okay with that. That's not just, that's not fair, that's not right. So what can I do to go for the things that I do want rather than against the things I don't want? Okay, because against the things I don't want gives us a double negative. For the things I do want gives us a double positive. So let's move into, so for example, instead of marching against war, you march for peace. Instead of, screaming at the politicians for all of the injustice, of which there is a lot that is going to come up over the next few years and is already happening. So things are being cleared out. There's all sorts of stuff. I want to be careful about how much I say about politics, but what they want to say is, when you see chaos on the surface, trust that actually underneath it's all being pulled up, ripped up, shown so that it can be cleared and released. So that action, we want to say, what can I be for? I want to be for the light, for the positivity, for justice. Because if you take 99.99999% of the population and say, do you want to fight your neighbor? Do you want to fight and war? They'll say, no, I just want peace. I want to be happy. I want to get on with everybody. We're all different. We're all people individually, they know what they're doing. It's when they get together in this collective, you start to get this crazy mindset. So we want to come back to the individual and say, what does it feel for me?
Thank you. And that brings up a lot on the collective. So where I'd like to go from here is, and then with your blessing, we'll pull some cards in a little bit. I want to look at the karma of the individual and even the karma of different nations. Because when you talk about the collective coming together, what I'm hearing is ancestral wounds, past life garbage, things that gets to be clear. Even a U.S. Constitution or a all men are created equal when it's the rich white guy and they're holding slaves. So what can you tell us about karma?
Okay, so karma is the rebalancing, and it is the awareness. It's really about, it's not about blame, it's not about debt, it's not about a lesson, it's not about punishment, it's not about any of those things. Karma is that what goes around comes around. It's causal, cause and effect. Okay, so we've all had multiple lifetimes in different planets, in different continents in this planet, in different countries, in different times. We've been black, white, we've been master and slave, we've been persecutor and persecuted, we've been it all. So over the balance of multiple lifetimes, karma will out. It comes back to, do you understand this fully? And, you know, as people, and we're all the same, is that we can be shown something, but until we experience it, it's only theory. So, you know, we can theoretically say, yeah, okay, that makes sense. But when we experience it, now it becomes real. We embody it. So if we've had, say, for example, lifetimes where we've been the master in control, we've been the persecutor, we've been the bully, you know, we don't really know what that feels like to be on the receiving end of that. You know, we can try and empathize and sympathize, but we don't really get it until we are in that position. We're being persecuted, and it's like, oh, okay, I did not like that. I don't want to do that again. Okay, so that's basically what karma is that we begin to understand. So in terms of a country's karma, first of all, to understand that each of us has chosen the life that we're in right now. Now, what I mean by chosen the life, we've chosen the parents, we've chosen the siblings, we've chosen the country we're born in, we've chosen whether we're born into poverty and struggle or affluence and ease. We've chosen it all. So those countries that are struggling right now with a lot of confusion, that's the main energy I feel coming out of the US. I'm in England, so, you know, but I'm on the outside looking in, but I'm feeling what's the main energy? People will say people are angry, they're frightened. Actually, what I'm being told, the main energy coming out of the States at the moment is confusion. Now, there's anger coming out of Canada. There's all sorts of stuff coming out of different places. But if we say, okay, as a karmic, I chose to be born into America at this time while it's going through these changes. So this is part of my karma, as well as the country's karma, as well as the whole part of it karma. And it's the same with Canada. And all of us, you know, and there's stuff going on in, you know, in Ukraine and Russia, and we can name names and all the rest of it, but I don't think it's particularly relevant. It's about saying on an individual basis, you chose to be born exactly whatever country you're in right now, working through your own karma as part of that country's karma.
Thank you. So I'm gonna, if I can see the chat right now, and we'll have a live event where this comes out and everybody will be in the chat at the same time. I can already see so many people going, I didn't choose this! Exclamation, exclamation, exclamation.
Yeah. Of course, people will say, I didn't choose to be born disabled. I didn't choose to be born into poverty. I didn't choose these parents who abused me. But as a soul, we do. As a human, we don't. As a human, we're like, what the hell happened? What am I doing here? Beam me up, Scotty. But our soul, our higher self, our higher soul, our higher mind, our past experiences of past lives chose this experience and said, okay, I choose to balance up some of this karma. I choose to heal some of my own wounds and sometimes ancestral wounds as well. And those ancestral wounds are coming up in the collective to be healed.
And we heal them. I can hear people saying, you mean I have to go my whole lifetime for this? Is there a way to accelerate? And you're nodding yes, so I'm happy about this, that we can accelerate this understanding and this healing process so that we're not stuck in the trenches for this whole lifetime going, it's my karma.
Yeah, absolutely. You can turn it around literally in an instant with your power, your will, your mind, your heart. Acceptance is the key. Acceptance, complete acceptance, unconditional acceptance is the key. So if we say, okay, I don't like this, this, and this about my life, and you know, we'll all have something we don't like about our life, then we say, right, but at some level I chose this, in some level I embrace this, I accept this. How can I grow from this? How can I love through this despite this? How can I be the best version of myself? As soon as we step into that energy, we start to create it. So it's all about that creation. This is the law of attraction in action. As soon as you are in an energy and you embody that energy, you embrace more of that energy towards you, magnetize it towards you. So acceptance, okay, whatever age I am, whatever my circumstances, I chose this. Okay, next, what do I choose now instead of? All right, so if I don't like this, what do I choose to create instead? And you can immediately step into that different energy. And this is what I try to teach through my books, From Hoping to Having, through my events. It's saying, look, whatever your circumstances are, you don't have to wait until you're 50s, 60s, 70s. You don't have to wait till you're on your deathbed to find your way to a different life. We are in this most incredible time right now where we can choose what we want to be, have, and do. So every country collectively can begin to say, I choose a better way, a different way. So what does that look like? What does it feel like? What action am I going to take towards it? So you start with you. Everything starts with you. Every relationship is with you. When we look at the things we don't like in the world, we tend to be looking at the relationships between one country and another, between one leader and another. It's those relationships that we say, well, that's completely terrible, right? Their relationship is dreadful, right? So that's on a wider scale. Bring it into a more personal scale. Your first relationship is with yourself. It's that true and honest and unconditional love and acceptance. Then there's the outside relationships with your loved ones, your family, your friends, your community. Keep going out and say, right, if I fix the relationship with myself, which I can absolutely do today, right now, in this moment, if I fix my relationship with money, with love, with anything, it changes.
How do we fix a relationship with ourselves, for instance?
Okay, so we look at first of all, what do I need to fix? So the first thing is to, I'm just channeling here, I'm just listening to what they're saying. The first thing is to realize you don't really need to fix anything. You're not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. You're an amazing being of light. You're an amazing human being doing the best you can do with the circumstances that you have. But most of those circumstances have taught you to be disempowered, helpless, hopeless. There's nothing you can do. Everything's impossible. So you feel this unhappiness and frustration that you want things to be different, but you don't know how. So start with knowing your power of who you truly are. You are a divine being of light. You are star energy. You are a spark of consciousness. You are God, Goddess, all that is personified within your cellular structure. And you have access to every other spark of light in the universe, including Source, including the masters, the ascended masters, the angels. You have access to it all. And when you realize how incredibly powerful you are and you own that sovereignty, you take that and you say, I am presence. I am choosing a different way. I am choosing a different path. And that path is to my highest good, my best life, my biggest heart, my most incredible experiences. And that starts with self, loving self, knowing who I am and accepting me exactly as I am. Warts and all, acceptance.
I remember coming back. Thank you. I remember coming back from my then girlfriend's house. I had just watched a Wayne Dyer special on National Public TV or something like that, PBS, Public Broadcasting Station. And he was selling this program called the Big Enchilada. Like this whole, you get the cassettes, you get this dates myself, you get the cassettes, you get the this, you get the that. And he said, you know, if you come from love, then you couldn't be anything other than love. And so I get home, I go in front of my bathroom mirror, and I say, I love myself. And in a movie that would have made Darth Vader proud, or a moment, I swung around, grabbed the shower curtain rod, pulled it off as if it was a lightsaber, shattered the mirror, shattered all the whatever little furniture and knick-knacky stuff, and just fell apart with anger toward myself at trying to say, I love myself. That segues. Would you mind sharing a little bit of what happened at 21 and how it brought you to an understanding of who and what you are?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. And I was 21. I actively decided I didn't want to be on this planet anymore. I had incredible faith. I'd been spiritually conscious all my life. I had an extremely good relationship with upstairs, my guides, angels, the other side. I had full insight and sight. I was clairvoyant, clairaudient. I knew what was the other side.
You were the new gen. That's the new gen that's coming in today is with their Claire.
Yeah. But it wasn't the new gen in the 60s or 70s, I can tell you. I was definitely the odd one, the weird one. But yes, my life had been extraordinarily hard, very, very hard and painful, full of trauma. And I was a complete mess, filled with despair, filled with unbelievable hopelessness. I could not see a way out or through. I could not see a way of it getting better. I could not see a way that I could wake up without feeling absolute terror, predominantly 24/7. And I just knew that it was love and light on the other side. And this world was really hard. And I said, no, I'm done. I can't do this. It's too hard. So I tried to commit suicide. I don't suggest this. Please don't do this. It's not a good idea, okay? But I do, at the same time, anybody who's going through PTSD, as I was, with incredible flashbacks and horror, and those of you with incredible depression, anxiety, hopelessness, I understand. And I understand how hard it is to live with that every day. And I know it wears you down. And I got to the point at 21 where I said, it's too hard, it's too much, I can't do this. So I took a huge overdose of multiple different pills. I was absolutely determined to go home and not come back again. And by home, I mean back to the light, back to source. So I went to sleep with the intention never waking up again. And I felt myself lift up out of my body and being taken home. And I was absolutely euphoric. I'm going home. I know exactly where I'm going. They're all going to be waiting for me. And they were. There was my spiritual team, my angels. I went to the angelic temple. They laid me down and I wanted to go off and explore. And they said, no, we have to heal you. And you have to stay there. You have to stay there. And there was all these angels around me, putting this healing energy into me. And they said to me, because you're going back, you're not staying. And I was arguing with them, saying, no, 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 I don't want to go back. I want to stay here. And they said, no, it's not your time. It's not your time. And then after a certain amount of healing, they took me around and they showed me a lot of things, a lot of places, but they predominantly showed me a lot of my past lives, my ancestors' lives. And I had very long meetings with very senior beings of light explaining to me that I was put on this planet to be a teacher. At the time, I was like, shut up. What do I know? To be inspiring and to that everything I'd suffered, everything that I'd been through, that had been planned. And this was an eye opener. What do you mean it's being planned? I'd gone through a lot of very, very bad stuff, okay, including physical abuse, sexual abuse, emotional abuse, all sorts, over a consistent long period of time, about 15 years. So I was sort of broken. I felt broken. And they told me, no, no, you're not broken. Your psyche, your energy field is broken because it's so filled with despair and fear. But your soul chose this, said, no, no, I've got to balance all this up. So what they showed me then was there were lifetimes that I'd had multiple lifetimes ago where I had not been a very nice person, where I had hurt other people. And it's like we like to think that we're always this love and light. They showed me lifetimes as the perpetrator and as the victim. They showed me that I wanted to heal my own karma from many lifetimes. They showed me a lifetime around about 550 where I was a warlord in Scotland. And I was, like kind of Attila the Hun type thing. And I was causing complete mayhem, raping, pillaging, burning villages. And, I was the leader of a clan. And I killed hundreds and hundreds of people. They showed them all to me. And I was like, oh, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And these beings that I'd hurt that were all there telling me they loved me and it was okay. And it was just incredible. But I'd been holding a lot of guilt. I'd been holding a lot of, I deserve to be punished because of all these bad things. So anyway, I came into this lifetime. And I chose to right all those wrongs, if you like, balance up my karma. They also showed me ancestral karma, which I didn't know at the time. They showed that a lot of this abuse my mother had been through and her mother had been through, and it had gone back 3 or 4 different generations. And that apparently my soul had said, not only will I take on my own karma, but I'll take on theirs. So I'm balancing karma up here for multiple generations, and I chose to do this. And then my guides were saying to me, we did tell you it would be too hard. We did tell you if that you've got about, I think they said I had 7 lifetimes left. And I said, no, 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 I'll do it in one.
I'll, I'll pause you for the briefest second. And people are going, no, don't stop the story. But just the briefest. So I remember being around this council and I remember choosing this lifetime. And then I said, give me the works. And they said, you can't handle. It's like, you can't handle the truth. They're like, you can't handle the works. I'm like, no, give me the works. And they're pretty much like, your wish is my command. And you get here and you're like, WTF, whoops.
Well, that's exactly what they were saying. It was very much like a kind of an amphitheater where I'm stood in the middle. I'm surrounded by angels, higher beings of light, galactic beings, and I'm like, oh, hello, I know you, and oh, hi, lots of people from past lives. And they were saying that, you chose to basically complete. You said, I want to ascend in this lifetime. I want to reach enlightenment and mastery. And they said to me, you've got a ways to go yet. you know. And I said, no, I want to do it in one. So I chose all of this. So I'm a number 9. I'm a ruling number 1 in numerology. Okay. Ruling number 1s are the leaders, the teachers, the inspirers. But I've got 99999 all through my chart. And 9 is nearly there. I'm born on the 9th day of the 9th month in 63, which is another 9. There are so many different 9s in my chart. And I asked them, they were showing me all these 9s, and I was saying, what does this mean? And they said, you want to complete everything. You want to get to the 10 of completion in this lifetime. And we told you it was too much. There was too much to clear, right? From so many different lifetimes. Some people are on their, only within their first 10 lifetimes. Other people are on hundreds of lifetimes. But to reach mastery, it's not about you've got to do hundreds or thousands. It's about that purity. And when we kind of go wrong, all right, and in a way, when they were showing me that lifetime as the clan leader, they were showing me that in that day and age what I was doing wasn't wrong. It was normal, it was accepted. And therefore, if you don't see it as wrong, how is what you're doing wrong? And it's all about the era. And they were trying to explain to me the times when people are born, whatever times they're in, that is perfectly acceptable and normal in that time. But as we evolve, we look back and say that was barbaric and that was awful. And how could we do those things? I'm British in this lifetime. They showed me many lifetimes where, if we go back just 400 years, we used to chop people's heads off and stick them on a stake on top of a castle. We look back on that now and say, that's barbaric. But it was only 400 years ago we were doing that. It was only 200 years ago we were doing slavery. There's so many things we look back on now and say barbaric. But anyway, coming back to the story, they were showing me all this stuff. And they said, we told you that you could clear all of that in 3. And you said, no, I want to do it in 1. And they said, it will be very hard, but we will put in a lot of extra support for you. We will give you high level guides. We will give you insight from day 1 so that you've got access to your higher self, which most people, you've all got access, but most people are not aware of it. They can't see. I could see colors, energy, angels. They were like, we will give you all of that because this is going to be really hard. And I'm sitting there, well, standing actually, I was, and they said, and now here you are, 21 and a half, saying, I give up, it's too hard, take me home. We told you so. And they were laughing, we told you so. So they said, no, you're not coming home. And that's when they said to me, you can come home at 67. And when you're 21, 67 seems very, very, very old. You ask any 21-year-old what they think of 67, and it's decrepit, very old person. I'm 61 and a half now, and I've got a lot of life left. They tell me now that I can live into my 90s if, that I can carry on, it's fine. But this was a kind of, I definitely couldn't go home before 67. So get back down there, pull your feet together and get on with it. But it was, they said to me, really, it's the biggest block or hurt in my energy was this victim energy, I'd been abused over and over and over and over, and I was in the why me, and that's understandable. Why me? Why did I have to suffer like that? Why did I have to go through that? So once they'd shown me all of this, I understood why me, and I understood that I chose this. Nobody made me do this. I chose this. So the victim energy fell away. And what took its place was personal responsibility. So did I kind of wake up? I woke up 3 days later, by the way. That kind of went on for 3 days. And all of that 3 days was about learning and understanding about karma, my past lives, what I was doing here this time. And they showed me, they said, the first half of your life will be pretty tough. But the second half of your life, you will find real empowerment. All right. Your journey, the purpose is take all of your power away, show you absolutely no love. Now, can you go find it? Can you find the love where there is none? Can you find your power where it's been taken away? Can you find your compassion even though you've been shown uncompassion? Can you turn it around? So I spent the first 40 years doing just that. By the time we got to 40, I was pretty balanced with being able to be in a place of peace, of wholeness, of self-love and acceptance. And then I started to give and to teach and to help others. And that's what I've been doing for the last 20 odd years. And so now if I want to stay, I can stay. But they did say to me, if I chose to stay, that after 60, my life would be incredible, that I would experience everything I'd always wanted to have. And I was like, really? I've got to wait till I'm 60, for goodness sake. But it's a process of growing into those things that you can't quite tap into right now. So I've been teaching this for the last 20 odd years. And so what I've taken so much knowledge and said to people, my understanding now, because the vibration is raised, portals have come in, all of this was in the 70s, 80s, and whatever. Now in 2025, my job since 2022 has been to teach people about the law of attraction and to say, do you know what? You have the power in this day and age, in an instant, to say, I choose to resolve all my past karma right now. I choose to step into abundance and love and mastery right now. But to do that, I have to take my sovereignty. And my spiritual team said to me, you have to show them how. They've been so disempowered, they don't know how. So I wrote it all in my books. I wrote it in here and said that this will show you how. And the people that have bought the books and come to my workshops and stuff, they're like, my life has turned around. Everyone can do it. You don't have to buy my book, buy somebody else's book, or just truly say to yourself, today is the first day of the rest of my life, and I'm ready.
What did you do? Thank you. What did you do from 21 to 40 to reclaim your life? So I've had 2 near-death experiences myself, and my own personal interpretation is integration is a bitch. You get the knowings on the other side, you come back and you go, what the do I do with this?
Oh, yes, yes, yes. The room was blue with my foul language, I can tell you, when I woke up. But equally, it made sense. So what do you do with it? I had to learn how to find my safety without it necessarily being safe. I had removed myself from the danger. That's why I was in PTSD. Post-traumatic stress syndrome is after the stress is over. So I was dealing with the aftermath of it now that I was safe. And so I put myself into counseling. I asked for help and support. I started to rebuild from the hopeless part of, I'm living in a terrible place. I'd been homeless and, been in all sorts of difficult situations. So I was like, I'm going to get somewhere decent to live. I'm going to get a job. I'm going to get on my feet and I'm going to find love. And my purpose for the first 10, 15 years, my focus was finding love through someone else. So it was always like, I've got to find my life partner. I've got to find wonderful friends. I've got to find people who appreciate me. It was always me trying to find it outside of myself. And to a certain extent, I did. I got married, I had children, I developed a career, and actually quite a successful career. And I still talk to my guides, and my career was helping homeless people and those that have been through domestic violence and kids leaving care because I was on the streets at 16. So I understood what it's like at 16 to have nobody in the world to help you. And so I wanted to help those. So my job for the next sort of 15, 17 years was as a debt counselor, advisor, homeless advisor, housing officer, ended up as a manager, working in local government helping. Because in the UK, we've got all sorts of support systems that are not necessary, they're not great, but they can be a lot better than other countries that have none, So we often moan in the UK about our terrible NHS and, the homeless people we have here and the benefits being terrible. And, they're not great and they should all be a hell of a lot better. But there are so many countries, including America, that just doesn't have these in place. And so um, and I'm just hearing it. I got corrected the other day on my channel when I say America. They say, "What do you mean is the United States?" Right, sorry. Okay. America's a big place. Okay. So yes, it's that I did that until I was 37. And then I found myself at 37, divorced, single mum, and I was working very hard. I was quite senior in my role, and I had a new baby. She was 2 by then, and I hardly ever saw her. She was with her dad on the weekend. I had her through the week, but I was at work. By the time I got home, and I'd pick her up from nursery and take her home, I'd have about 45 minutes with her, and that was it. And then she was in bed, and it was heartbreaking. And I pick her up from the nursery and it was heartbreaking. And there's a story in my book where I explain that one day I went to pick her up from nursery. She was about 2.5 and she wouldn't come to me. She was clinging to the nursery nurse, the nursery person, because she knew them better than she knew me. And I was heartbroken. I literally had to pull her out of that woman's arms, kicking and screaming. And she's going, "No, no, no, no." And this is my own child. And I took her to the car, put her in the car seat, took her home, gave her a bath, gave her a tea, put her to bed, read her a story, and then I sat and cried my eyes out. And I said to my spiritual team, my angels, help me, help me, help me. I want to know my child. This is not what I want to do. Help me. And so they did. They said, quit, quit. And I was like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Um, so I followed the guidance and I did. I left. I had a house, I had a decent car, and I sold everything. And I moved 200 miles from Gloucester to, which is in England, to Cornwall. And I rented a house. I chose to leave a house I owned to go and rent a house, to say, at least I get to see my child and I'll figure it out. So what I did was I got a job quite quickly, but in a junior position, and much lower. So I wasn't taking work home, I wasn't working late, and it was 16 hours a week. And that's what I was going to work on. 4 hours a day, 4 days a week, loads of time with my daughter. And then I started, my team was saying to me, we want you to do something else. And they just showed me training, learning, a class, a course. And I'm like, what do you want me to do? And in those days, we didn't have Google. Well, it was just starting. It was about 2000. But it was do you remember the yellow pages, the big yellow book with all
Of course, I remember the yellow
yeah, we
pages.
all had them, didn't
Stacks.
we? I was sitting through there ringing, telephoning all the colleges that and asking them to send me their prospectus of all their courses. So I ended up within a few weeks of dozens of prospectuses, and I read through them and waited for the sign, the signal, the one that the oh, that's the one for me. And that's what happened. I was looking through dozens and dozens of courses, and I saw this one as hypnotherapy, and I went, that's the one. Every part of me lit up. My heart was singing, my whole being said, that's the one. I felt absolutely excited and energized. And then I said to them, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? And they said, we'll help you. So I then was able to find the right course that I could afford that was registered proper because there was a lot of them that were just a weekend course. I wanted something that I would be a licensed proper professional. So I found the one, everything fell into place. I started learning that while I still had the part-time job. And so I had the time. And yeah, it was about a year, I suppose. It was 2021 when I qualified, and I still kept my part-time job and I'd start building up clients. But my priority till my daughter was in full-time school was that I had time for her. And then I allowed it to expand. So that was my story, and that's what I did ever since. I retired as a hypnotherapist last year, and I let my license end. I didn't renew it. But obviously, 20 odd years as a hypnotherapist, I know the way the mind works.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So I want to go from here. I want to take this kind of a second half of the show. And I want to start with some tarot readings. And you do some amazing readings for the cards. And I want a reading for everybody. But first, um, I can't believe I'm going to go there. I'd like if we can start with a reading for the US. Oh, man. I don't know time wise how long it takes. I'm hearing reading for US, Canada, and Europe. And I know there are people from all around the world here, but those seem to be the ones that are lighting up. How do we do this? And I know this isn't something you've done before as countries, but to me, a country is a collective, and a collective is a human being.
Okay. All right. No, I've not done it before per country, but we just put the emphasis on that. When I do readings on my channel, which are different when I'm doing private readings, by the way, when I do private readings, I don't use the cards at all. I just tune into the person's energy and tell them what they need. And that's usually the way I work. When I do these talks as well, I just tune in what does the US need to know right now, and just allow it to come through. But you've asked for cards, so you shall have cards. So I'm just looking at, I've got about 20 decks here, so I'm just looking at which deck they would like me to use. So interesting, they want me to use an angel deck to start with, and I know you work with angels, and so do I. These are called the Angels of Atlantis. We will use
Yes, that's from a dear friend of mine.
Oh, is it?
So
Right, I
so
love
he
these cards.
who is from London.
All right, okay. Okay. So they're asking me to start with this. What is the message for those in the US, please? Well, look at that.
There we go.
Okay, so the predominant, and I will pull the same sort of cards for other countries in terms of which decks, okay? So we're going to have one from here and we'll have a couple of tarot as well. What is the message for the US at this time? And you have Archangel Hamael with hope. And this energy here is the base chakra, the root chakra. Okay, this is all about our center of safety, security, grounding. And that bird is a dove of peace. So you are hoping for peace. You are hoping to feel safe, secure, to be able to move into a place of peace. But what you're seeing on the surface is fighting, arguments, is what's the word I'm looking for, please? Poke the bear, poke the bear. That's what's going on with your leaders poking the bears and creating chaos, and it's frightening you. And I get that it's frightening you. Okay, so what do they want to say about this? You're a young country. You're 200 years old. You're going through a rebirth. They're telling me this is linked to Pluto and the creation of the US, and then Pluto's sort of retransit. So I'm sure one of your incredible astrologer guests, Pam Gregory, that was on, she probably was talking about this. So you're going through this rebirth, and this is part of the growth that is happening. And what it's doing when we go through a rebirth, we kind of pull up our anchors, we pull up our roots and say, where I am anchored, does this actually work for me? Now, they're showing me a plant being repotted. Okay. You know, when a plant's outgrown its pot, it comes pot bound. That's what they're showing me. All the roots are pot bound. They can't grow. The leaves are shriveling. It's not getting the nutrients it needs. So if we love that plant and we want to take care of it, what we do is we take it out of the pot. We pull out those roots, and it looks like we're damaging some of those roots. Okay, and then we'll straggly, and then we'll put it into fresh soil with either a bigger pot or straight into the ground where there's no restriction, so that those roots can now re-anchor, and then they can spread out, and they can get all the nutrients they need, and they can grow to be a mighty oak. Okay, whatever it is. All right, so that's the image that they're giving me and explaining that that is what's going on right now with the US. So what you're seeing, you know, in terms of with the politics, with the challenges, with the division, I want you to just realize that everything is coming up because your 200 years is your plant is pot bound, and it needs to be pulled out and repotted. And so there is a little bit of panic and fear. But when you can step into this hope and trust that your roots will be going into something cleaner, stronger, with more nutrients, with more nourishment, with more light. So they're now showing me a forest and a little plant trying to grow in the forest. There's hardly any light, and then all the trees being pushed out of the way, not felled, but like slid out of the way, so that light can come down for that plant to grow. So what we're going through right now in 2025 and 2026, predominantly the next 18 months, okay, until the summer of 2026. So all of 25 and half of 26, we're going through this light pouring down and pouring down to enable you to grow. So I want you to stay in the hope, and I want you to feel and know that you are safe, no matter what is going on around you. You, like many people, will say, I'm safe because ... And I want you to cancel, delete. I'm not safe for any of that. That's all outside me. That's all outside me. I'm safe because I am. Full stop, period. I'm safe because I am. Not because of a government, not because. I'm safe because I am. That's all, right? So when we see chaos in the government, we get scared because for 5,000 years, 10,000 years, we've looked to those leaders. I say it tongue in cheek, but because they're not leaders, but you know what I mean. We look to them to save us. We look to the kings, the queens, the rulers of the church, the rulers of the country to keep us safe, to feed us, to keep the other armies out. We've done it for thousands of years. We've given our power away to the kings and queens. These days, the presidents. These days, whatever. We've given it, you'll keep me safe. So if you're in chaos, how are you going to keep me safe? So all of a sudden, I'm not safe. This is what people are feeling and experiencing. But this is the best thing. This is the only thing and the only way. Because it's time for people to take their own sovereignty, their own personal responsibility. Nobody can keep me safe except me. I'm not going to wait for somebody else to make me feel safe. I'm going to find that safety in me. So therefore, it doesn't matter if I've got a crazy president. It doesn't matter if I've got a nutty king or queen. It doesn't matter if that president's arguing with that president, because it's not your job to keep me safe. It's my job to keep me safe. So you carry on fighting. You pathetic little children, keep on cracking on doing what you're doing. It's not going to frighten me. And as soon as your fear melts away, underneath that is your power. And it always was there. It was just buried underneath the fear. So take your power, take your hope, stand in your truth and say, this is my life, my sovereignty, my safety, and I am safe. And all this fighting and squabbling amongst the children, let them get on with it. I'm focusing on me. When you put this energy of peace into yourself and you send out that energy of peace and trust that sooner or later that squabble, it'll blow over. It'll blow over. And then some of you may say, well, what about those who are being killed? There's wars. This isn't just squabbling, this is wars. What about those being killed? I completely hear you and I get it. But please know this. It was designed that way. It was designed that way. They volunteered. They volunteered. And that might sound so heartless to you, but I promise you their soul is rejoicing. It is horrible. It's disgusting what's happening. We can look at it and say this is not acceptable. But those individual souls volunteered for that so that perhaps it sickens us enough that we do something about it to stop it from ever happening again. But how many times have we said this? We'll never let it happen again. We said it after World War I, the Great War. We said it after World War II, and it happened again. We said we'd never have genocide again. It happened again in Yugoslavia in the 80s. And you think, how is genocide happening in the 80s? It's happening again. It happens now in African countries and states. It happens. When are we going to say no more? So we see things that are wrong, and they are, and we say we're powerless. It's not for us to fix it. It's our leaders to fix it. And we wait for the leaders to fix it, and they don't. So you see us losing our faith in our leaders. It's actually part of this process where we take our own power to say we're not waiting for the leaders to fix it. This is part of it. It's all part of it. You know, sometimes we look back with the benefit of hindsight and we say, that makes sense in hindsight. Doesn't make it right, but it makes sense. I want you to just for a minute, and this might be triggering for some of you, but it's the example they gave me earlier and they're giving it to me again. I want you to think back to 2020 in that year and how hard it was. It was horrible, and many people died, and many people were mourning. And look how many marriages broke up and jobs ended and people relocated and people moved. And it was the hardest, toughest year that humanity's ever had globally. All right. Where are you now, 5 years on from that? Can you put your hand on your heart and say, my life is worse? My life is terrible now compared with 2019? Or can you, in all honesty, say, it was horrible, it was hard, but oh my God, I grew, I strengthened, I stood in my power, I stood up for myself. I said, this isn't working for me, I'm making changes. I'm going to do what I need to do. You made changes. The world changed. And whatever your judgment of it, whether you think it's changed for the better or the worse, the higher beings of light, and they're here now, are applauding and saying there is absolutely no doubt the world became a better place from that. Things were so tight and so dark, they needed to be cracked open. They needed to be changed. Everything that was changed has been available to you for over 20 years. Things like working from home, on Zoom, on Google Meets, that's been available for 20 years. But the corporations wouldn't let you. They wanted the control. They wanted you in the office. They wanted to be able to look over your shoulder and make sure you were doing that job. When they couldn't do that anymore during 2020, and they said, all right, we'll have to let you work from home. We'll have to trust you. We'll have to give you autonomy to do your job, even though the boss isn't looking over your shoulder. What happened? They began to trust you. You began to take your autonomy. And many of you said, I don't actually want to work in this industry. There were changes that came out of it. And all of those, many thousands of people who passed on through that, they volunteered on a soul level, not on a human level, but their soul said, I'll be there till 2020 and then I'm going home. Okay, I'll do my bit to get you to that point, and then I'm going home. And this is what always happens, but it's so hard, isn't it, to see that when we're in it. So when you say, here we are in 2025, and the US looks really uncomfortable and really chaotic, can we just trust that all through that chaos, things will blast open that need to blast open, and things will settle where they need to settle, and that we are being helped, not just by angels, but by source, by galactic beings, by the collective consciousness, by our hearts. And one of the big changes in 2025 is that we're moving from the solar plexus, where we've been trying to gather our power and kind of learn our sovereignty, to then take that up into the heart, to start to live from the heart, to start to live from a place of authentic love and acceptance. When we can live from a place of that, we don't judge the president as being crazy or chaotic or brilliant or terrible. We don't judge, because the heart doesn't judge. The heart says that is what it is, and I love you anyway. And so we're moving into that space, and it's a work in progress. Will it be completed by 2032? No. But the bulk of it, the worst of the chaos, the most of the shifting, will have all taken place. And what we're doing in 2025 and 26 is laying the groundworks, laying the groundworks. You know, I described this recently where I was saying, in the UK, when we build a house, because it's always raining here, we've got to make sure that our foundations are solid. Okay, we get so much rain. If we don't put proper solid foundations in, they'll just wash away and the house will fall down. So we have to build concrete 3, 4, 5, 6 feet down, sometimes more. And we build on that before we put a single brick up for a wall, right? It's the foundations that take the time. Now, the old foundations had taken thousands of years to be built, and they've all been crumbling because they were based on fear and control and oppression. They've all been crumbling. So now we've been doing the groundworks, we've been clearing out the old foundations, and we've been laying new ones. And those new foundations have been really being put in place since 2012. And 2020 was when we really started to put the first bricks in of the new golden age. And it's coming, and we're in it now. So for my US friends, have hope and trust, and look at your own foundations and allow them to change and move until they feel comfortable and right for you from your heart, and all will be well. All right? All right. You asked for a tarot card. I will just give you one tarot card for the US as well, and then we'll move on to Canada. What is the message? Thank you. That just fell out. Okay. It's the Palace of Coins. Now, this is a card that isn't in all tarot decks, but it is in this deck. This is a Marchetti deck, and it is the Tower of Dreams. The Palace of Coins is a place. It's a place. It's an environment, and we're talking about America here, US. And the coins is about foundations and money and stability and beauty. So we are looking at building something that is more beautiful and more balanced. The main energy with this card is the nature and the animals all around it in harmony with the beautiful castle. Your country's out of balance. It's been out of balance for a long time. It was born out of balance, okay, because your foundations were built on other misery. All right, so we know that. We don't need to get into all of that, but it's being rebalanced into a more harmonic place. That's what's unfolding. So your country's being birthed all over again. And birthing pains, as any mother will tell you, are not easy. So just trust. But equally, when you look at what happens after the birth is over and that baby is put in your arms, you forget the pain and you celebrate. So do that. All right? Okay. All right, let's have a look at Canada. Tell me about the main energy, the main message for my Canadian friends, please. Thank you so much. The I am presence. Archangel Michael, this is the message for my Canadian friends. I know you're angry. I know you're upset. I know you feel betrayed. It's an energy of two best friends having a big falling out and turning their backs on each other and wanting to fight. But there was so much love there. So the I am presence is your God force, your present, present day force. Do I need to worry about tomorrow? No, because that will sort itself out. Am I going to hang on to what we had in the past? No, let's bring everything into today, right here, right now, into my energy, into my heart, into what's important to me. Let's not blame an entire continent. Let's just say this is down to one or two individuals, and we're not going to fall out with the whole school over one person being difficult. I'm not going to allow that one person to have that much power that spoils a beautiful friendship. So I'm going to step into my I am presence. This is your divinity. This is your sovereignty. And of course, you will not
What a
surrender your
word.
sovereignty. That's not going to happen. We know that. And it is, when it was first said, they're saying this for me to tell you this. When it was first said, the 51st state, we laughed because it's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. It's funny. So see it as a joke. I know it wasn't meant like that, but see it as a joke. It's not a threat. It's not going to happen. It's pathetic. It's not funny. But it's a joke. Just let it go. You are sovereign. You are beautiful, and you are in your power. You will not have it taken. You will not surrender it. You will not lose it. It is, they're showing me a bird cage, and they're showing me the cage being rattled. Okay. Um, there's a certain amount, they're saying, of complacency for many countries that are safe and not at war, and we're complacent. Getting your cage rattled and suddenly feeling threatened helps you to come into your I am. It helps you come into who I am. And for some people, that can go a little bit too far. We start to become nationalistic, divisive. Yeah, no, no, no. Come back. Just come back and say, has anything really changed in me? And has anything really changed in that friendship with the collective? And the answer is no, it hasn't. So you're not in any threat. We know and understand your anger, but understand that anger is a result of feeling threatened. If you're not being threatened because there is no threat, then why feel angry? Laugh instead. Do you see? Easier said than done, we understand. But saying it's laughable to be annexed, to be taken. No, you're too big, you're too powerful, you're too strong. It won't happen. See it as the empty words that it is, and remember who you are. You are God, Goddess, all that is, personified, as you all are. Step into your presence. All right, let's add a tarot card for my Canadian friends. Okay, well, that one wanted to come. You are in conflict. This is the battle card. You are, many of you, in the battle. We're going to fight. We're going to stand up. We're going to hate you. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And it is that retaliatory energy that all it does is create more retaliatory energy, does not serve you. Understand that all conflict outside of yourself is a reflection of conflict within you. So bring your attention within yourself and say, I choose to let this go. I choose to not battle about this. You can sit and talk and rant and rave to each other about how disgusting this or that or the other is. All you're doing is increasing the energy by putting your attention into it. So dissolve it. Instead, come into the I am with the intention, I am choosing to let go of all conflict. I'm choosing to come into peace. I am choosing to send harmony and love into this situation. I am choosing to focus on what is beautiful. I let go of any threat. I'm not threatened. So we know that you're in conflict. Don't let it escalate. Bring it back. Bring it back to you. All right? Okay. So this recognizes strongly this conflict that is happening at the moment. I like the fact that they recognize it. All right, let's have a look at Europe. Oh, they're saying, no, we need an angel card first. Okay, all right. Okay. And I will have to do one for Australia, Australasia.
Yeah,
All
it's
right,
it's
just
it's
do one.
totally. I'm hearing it in my head as you're going. I'm going.
Yeah.
We got to go there.
Okay. Europe. We have Archangel Jophiel with joy, the solar plexus, the center of joy, trust, love, empowerment. It's just beautiful. We are blessed in Europe. We know that part of Europe is still at war, and we know they're certainly not in the joy in that part of Europe. But generally, the majority is a huge collective. They're just showing me a map of Europe, and they are carving to one side the war area, and they're saying, think about the rest of Europe. So all those other countries, all the Scandinavian countries, France, Spain, Portugal, Italy, Greece, Britain, all of those countries, we're at peace. We're safe, we're secure, we can play, we can have fun, we can have joy. Yes, it's not perfect, and yes, there are issues. There in every country there is issues, but on the whole, we are not going through what's happening in other countries. What they're saying is bring your collective energy together in joy, in trust, and move that energy into the Ukraine, into sharing, spreading, sharing the love, sharing the joy, sharing the trust, sharing the empowerment, and understanding they are fighting to hold on to their power. And when we fight for our power, it's not, it doesn't balance. It doesn't balance. You stand in your power automatically in your sovereignty. So by putting joy into it, it balances it. It brings it into balance. It will help to balance it. But the message predominantly for Europe is please know how lucky you are, despite the things that things are not perfect. This is an old country that is well established, also going through some growing pains of change, but nothing compared to other continents. So know your joy, appreciate it, and share it. All right. Not much to say on that. Let's take a tarot card to go with it for the Europe, please. See, they're repeating it. Know how lucky you are. Nine of Cups. How blessed you are. Now, I'm going to have my British followers screaming at me because it's hard in the UK too. I know it's hard. It's hard everywhere. The whole world will look at it and say, this isn't right, that's difficult, this is challenging, this is scary. Everybody can see that and say that if that's what they choose to see. Or do you choose to see the joy? Do you choose to see the wishes? The Nine of Cups is a wish fulfilled. It's a dream. It's a hope. It's a wonderfully positive card. Can we see the joy? Can we see the light? You know, going back to the beginning of this interview, when you asked me about do I believe in the 3 days of darkness, and my immediate reaction was no. I believe in 3 days of light. It's about that perspective. You see? So can we find this within ourselves in Europe to see how blessed we are? Yes, it's not perfect, but let's find that joy and then spread it out into the collective and spread it out to the US, to Canada, to the rest of the world. Let's own that. All right. So let's get a message for Australia just to finish off, and then we'll come back to you what you want to
Australia,
ask.
New Zealand,
Yeah,
all Oceania.
Australasia. Yeah, so all of that area. Um, what do I want to say to that part of the world, please? And they're showing me that's including, this is interesting because they're showing me that includes all the islands in in that Pacific area. So that will include Hawaii. I'm seeing Hawaii. I know it's American, but I'm sorry, but I'm seeing it within Australia, New Zealand, and Fiji, and those islands in sort of South Asia. I'm just seeing that area.
We have a lot of fans, people who watch, viewers in Philippines and Singapore. Our moderator extraordinaire, Aya Bear, everybody knows her. She's Philippines.
Yeah. That's what I'm seeing. And I know geographically that might not be correct to say Australasia, but that's the area they're showing me because I'm seeing this from where my angels are and they're looking down and they're kind of going, that bit there. I'm like, okay. All right. So we have Australasia, we have planetary cycles. Okay.
Sandalphon.
Sandalphon, this beautiful energy here. This is talking what we've been talking about karma, we've been talking about planetary cycles, we've been talking about a rebirth happening. And so all the planets, including Gaia, Mother Earth, go through these planetary cycles and planetary changes. And whilst the outer planets are moving through and changing, it changes the energy, the frequency, the vibration, depending on whether they're close or further away. We know this. For those of you who don't know much about this, we all know this just in terms of the moon, our
Mhm.
moon, and the oceans. We know that the moon controls the tides. And when the moon is further away, we know that the tides are lower. When the moon comes in, the tides are higher. If the moon can change the frequency and the vibration of our waters, you see, we understand that all these other outer planets, Pluto and Saturn and Neptune, as they move further out or further in or in a different frequency, it changes the vibration for the Earth. So we're in this big planetary cycle of shift and change into the fifth dimension, into living from the heart. And so you too are going through this shift. Now, this is a gentle shift. It's an expansive shift. They're asking me to bring the tarot in with it to discuss with it. So let me just see what the tarot energy is for this shift. Thank you. It's the Ace of Coins. This is, I felt it was positive, but I wanted to get the tarot to go with it. So this Ace of Coins is a new beginning in terms of what is grounded, safe, secure. We have something very new, very earth, very grounded coming in. So they're just showing me actually some galactic beings coming down into that area. So New Zealand, particularly, they're showing me some landings here. They're showing me some coming down in desert areas of Australia. So you're going to get some seismic activity going on,
Oh,
energetic
wow.
frequencies going on. This is positive. This is beautiful. You're also young countries, and particularly Australia, New Zealand, young countries. Again, only a few hundred years old. You're growing. You're moving into a new cycle, but this doesn't feel as challenging or tough as what's going on around the US. So that's because you're a little bit older. They're saying you would have gone through a similar, and I'm not brilliant with history, but I know Australia is a bit older in terms of when we first went out there. But they're saying that you went through your shift a little bit further back. You're now catching up into a higher cycle. So it feels positive, it feels good, it feels stable, nothing to worry about. All right. That's what I have for you in terms of the cards. I hope that was helpful.
That was as a general reading. And then I'm curious if you have anything specifically for my wife, baby, and myself, but for everyone in general, what is the feeling sense you get for all of humanity? Or maybe that needs a card for all of humanity at this time.
Okay. All right. So I'm just asking. They are, yeah, the same pull a card. I was just saying, should I just talk? And they said, no, take a card. Right. So this is globally, this is collectively. Message for the collective, please. I love the way that this just happens. Archangel Raphael with empathy. Archangel Raphael is his key job. He is the archangel of healing. Okay, so healing. We have this beautiful healing energy of empathy where we can really feel, connect into the oneness with each other, when we can empathize, be compassionate, be understanding, be forgiving, be tolerant. Just put that empathy, that heart into yourself first. Everything starts with you. Be gentle with you, empathic with you. Show yourself love and compassion, and then share it out with others. There's a beautiful lotus flower, this beautiful green energy of the heart. We're living from the heart now. We're moving into the heart. And not everybody's going to like that. They want to stay in the warring. They want to stay in the control. They want to stay in the fear. Not everybody wants to live from the heart. Or they don't want you to live from the heart because you don't need anything from them when you do. And they want you to be beholden to them. They want you to be in fear of them. So when you're not and you're living from the heart, they lose their power and you step into yours. And that is the message globally for everybody at this time. So don't be afraid. I know it's easy for us to say, or me to say, because they tell me, don't be scared. But please know, this is all unfolding exactly as it's meant to. The world is not going to hell. All the dogs, it's not going to blow up. It's not going to commit harikari. The world is evolving, as are you, into its best version, into your best version. And we're so proud of you, and we love you so much. And we are with you. So when you feel the fear, hand it over to us. Ask us to help you. We're there. We'll hold you. We'll hold your heart in loving, compassionate hands. Can you do the same for yourself and for others? Just try your best. And your best is good enough. It's always good enough. All right?
Thank you. What would you tell people? And then maybe a tiny reading. Then I want to share where people can find your books, and we'll wind this beautiful conversation and reading down. And thank you so much. What do you tell people who are in a war zone, or it's really dangerous for their lives?
It's very, very difficult for people who have to know that, they didn't choose, I didn't choose this war, I didn't want this war. On a soul level, they were moved into that situation for some part of their karma. I'm asking my team, what do you say? We value you. We value your commitment to this world, to this planet. Okay, whenever the planet goes through any kind of major upheaval like war, those that are caught up in it are part of the big shifts and the changes into a rebirth of a new world. So those souls that are suffering and struggling so much will be rewarded so much. But it's difficult to see it when you're in it. Many of you are able to remove yourself from it if you see a way through, but many of you don't. Like some of you are learning is not the right word. They don't want learning. You are expanding your awareness on rebuilding, being part of the rebuilding of your new country on the other side of this war. You're part of that solution. And some of you don't want to be part of that solution. You want to relocate and get away from it. And that's all right too. But there has always been war, always. There's war within the animal kingdom as well. And you are part of the animal kingdom. But as the whole planet raises its vibration, that kind of warring will fall away in time. For it to fall away completely will take longer time yet. But our message to you, those of you who are struggling, seeing loved ones killed, hurt, wounded, injured, Just trust that you are loved, that you are love, and that all wars come to an end. They are temporary, and that is to hold on to the faith. This war will end, and it will. It will.
Thank you. Any brief words that you would have for that you're hearing from my wife? I call her baby. She's 2 years, 9 months, getting close to a 3-year-old, but she's still my baby.
See what message there is for you. Hmm. All three of you are soulmates. You already know this. You've been together before. You're very strongly joined on a soul level. And there is another soul coming in for you. Indeed, another two coming in for you. There are more children for you coming. All right. We understand that you have been through a loss, understanding that a loss. That soul just needed to connect with you briefly, and that was all it needed. And you needed that brief connection. It boosted your heart and your energy for you and your wife. So going forward over the next year, what is the message for you over the next year? Find the joy in as much as you can in yourself and in each other. Your relationship with nature is beautiful and strong and healing and grounding. You will continue to expand into each other and evolve off each other. And that can include some sparks as well. And this is healthy. This is all right. Okay. What else do you want to say, please? I want to pull a couple of cards for you. I'm going to use a different deck. What do you want to say to Michael, please? And his wife and child. Okay. We've got the Ace of Swords with the star and the Six of Coins. What else do we have here? This was the loss that you went through. This Three of Swords was the hurt and the pain, but out of it is born a new beginning with the Ace of Swords, a new clarity, a new focus. You step into your starlight and you step more into receiving. Things are completely open for you. The star is also to do with your work, of you being, all three of you are stars, all of you are stars, but those that choose to be in the public eye to be a star, your star is rising. There is a new beginning coming in for you. This is a shift in your work. This is a new idea, a new inspiration, a new clarity. There is a clarity. There is a portal opening for you within the next in about 3 months, around May. There's a portal opening for you, and that is going to enable you to receive more. The Six of Coins is the card of receiving more than enough. So more than enough is coming in to balance up that hurt. All right.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. The one piece to address, I think, for everybody today is you've given some practical knowledge. You mentioned the word nature, and I think you may have used grounding. How do we all ground in at this time and ground in through the, okay, I'm love, I'm light, I'm a creator, duck. Things are flying around above me. How do we ground in this time?
So the fastest way to ground is to be in nature if you can. To just literally put your bare feet on bare soil that is earth or grass or sand, something natural. That is the fastest way. And literally, you can do it within 2 seconds. Just 2 feet on the floor and the words, I am grounded. That's enough. All right. Now, not everybody can get their feet on the earth. It's pouring with rain here, and it's muddy and it's yucky, and I certainly not going to put my bare feet on that. So the second way of doing it, people can use grounding mats, all right, where they literally can put a tie into the earth, and that helps to ground and neutralize imbalanced energy. That's another way. But the third way, which is, I said to you, the easiest way of like proper grounding, put bare feet on the earth. The easiest way for those who can't, and that includes me, is simply, I am grounded. The words with the intention behind them. I am grounded. And then you can add to it if you want to, you don't have to. You visualize roots coming out of the soles of your feet into the earth, anchoring them, just like the roots of a tree going down and anchoring them. And as you do that, you're saying to the earth, and this is the way I did it for a long time, that I would say, I would ask permission from Mother Earth for my roots to go down and into her. Thank you for connecting me to you. It's appreciation, it's valuing. We're part of the earth. We're born from the earth, we go back to the earth. So to say thank you, I'm part of you, and I recognize I'm part of you, and I'm visualizing my earth, my see that orb go past there then for a minute, just whoosh. I recognize that my energy field is linked with you. You see, part of your energy field, it's like an egg all around you, and imagine it about 3 feet above you, about a meter above you, and about a meter below you, 3 feet below you. So that energy is below your feet. You're already in the earth. As you walk, you are in the earth. So when we own it, when we recognize it with the intention, I'm grounded, I'm earth, then you are. You simply are. But those of you that feel very ungrounded and untethered, which many of you are right now, there's a little bit further you can go. Visualize your roots going into the earth, visualize them going down and anchoring onto the roots of other rocks, trees, other things, and really connect in with other nature. That makes you feel even more grounded. And then what you can do is you can release the fear within your solar plexus, within your heart, within the root chakra. That your root chakra is your center of grounded, but also your center is safe, secure. So if you don't feel safe, secure, visualize that energy sinking down through your roots, through your legs, through your feet, out into the earth. Then visualize new energy coming in, rebooting you. Plug yourself into the battery of the universe. Open your heart to that light and allow the heart light to sink down into the root chakra, knowing that you are filling yourself up with your own sense of safety, security, which Mother Earth supports, which the planets support, which Source supports, that you are supported. Doesn't matter who's on the throne, who's in power, who's in the White House, who's in any of these political structures. You are safe. You are safe now. All right?
So, Julie, where can people go to, that was good. Where can people go to find your beautiful work, to find your books, and if you even have openings to find out about private channeling with you?
Okay, I don't have openings. I opened up on Monday for about 50 sessions. They sold out in 2 hours. They're all gone. I'm my website, Julie Poole with an E online.com. JuliePooleOnline.com. You can find me on YouTube, Julie Poole, just my name. But if you put Julie Poole Tarot, you'll probably find me easier. I do have a manifesting channel as well, but you can find me through either of those. My website's got all the links to everything, and my books they're on Amazon worldwide. And so if you just go to your own Amazon, Amazon.com, and or Amazon AU or Amazon CA or Amazon UK, and you just type in From Hoping to Having, my books will come up. There are three of them: the blue one, the gold one, and there's an affirmation booklet as well. And they've asked me, my team, to write, my spiritual team, to write another one this year, which is going to be on spiritual connection. So there's another one coming, but there's three there at the moment. And I'm coming to Orlando in May to teach this workshop for the day, which is, I love to be actually in person because all my sessions are online. You know, we're on Zoom and we're on this. So to be in a room with people, we're doing the abundance mindset. We're doing Orlando, London, and Vancouver. All the information is on my website on the events page if you want to book a ticket. So that's that. I'll probably open up again for some more sessions later on the summer. I announced that on my newsletter, which you can sign up for my mailing list if you want to. So you'll know when I'm doing new events or, You know, one of the things, as soon as I announced I was coming to America and Canada for these events, I had so many people from Australia and New Zealand saying, what about us? And I said, I'll come to you next year. So yeah, you can sign up for my mailing list on my website. So yeah, that's how you find me. All right.
Beautiful. Any last words you want to share with people?
Okay. Just understand that we're human. I'm saying we now, not challenging this. We're human, we're frail. We get used to things being a certain way. We get used to a certain structure. And even though we might not like that structure and pick holes in it and say that it's rotten and it's terrible and it needs fixing, when everything suddenly shakes up so that those things can be fixed, we want to run the other way and say, no, no, I don't want it to be chaotic. So understand that as a collective, all of us have been putting our energy into this cauldron pot for many years, saying we need change, we need change, we need change. There's too much corruption, there's too much greed, there's too much for one and not enough for another. We need things to balance. We need to see equality. We need to see each other. Things need to change. So please know we're going through that change right now. We're going to come out the other side, and this world is going to be so much better. I promise you. So know that in your heart. And so if it gets uncomfortable, if it gets like scary, just say, I'm handing this fear over. I don't need to put my faith in any one person, entity, organization, or business. I put my faith into myself. And that is where my power lay. All right.
Woohoo! Thank you so much, Julie. So for everyone out there, this is Michael Sandler saying, be well, have fun, put the power where it belongs, right inside of you, and above and beyond all else, shine bright. Woohoo! Thank you so much. Awesome. Wow, wow, wow. Another special, sacred. I love the hopeful message. I believe the hopeful message. I know the hopeful message. These times, when I say these times are changing, these times are changing. They're not easy. For many people, they're really, really challenging. But there is and will be something on the other side of that. On that note, if you want to bring your energy up and find a safe space, a safe haven, a safe community from which to anchor in and grow during this time to that higher room, to that higher level, come join us for the School of Mystics, live or recorded, 4 Wednesdays each month, plus clearings, plus attunements, plus a group intention manifestations that help you shift your entire existence. There's that link down below to join us in the School of Mystics, again, 4 Wednesdays each month. If you simply want to bring your energy up, want something less committal, free even, go to dailywoohoo.com, where I help bring your energy up, and way up on a daily basis. And if you want to learn how to channel yourself, how to connect with your angels, your guides, your loved ones on the other side, I teach it live each month, and there's an entire video-based program at automaticwriting.com. It's automaticwriting.com. You can find that link down below as well. I love you so, so much. You have the power. You are the power. You are the creator. You are the divine. You are the magnificent, and you are shining bright. Woohoo! How does it get any better than this? Lots of love.